Hello FPS. As you know, all of our CPD sessions are going to be held virtually from now on. And before I get into discussing the aspects of today, we'll be sharing any important outcomes from the first week back in school, and we'll also be talking about the important assessments that are coming up in the baselines. But the first thing I need to do is to say thank you. It's to say thank you for your incredibly hard work, your efforts, your ideas, everything you've done to shape the classrooms, to shape the environments, to shape the lessons, to shape the teaching, and to shape the overall provision that brings us back into school and back where we are today. We also need to acknowledge and thank Shafiq and his team and the really important work of the support staff. They've worked until very late at night or very early in the morning to help us put the ideas into practice and to create a really safe environment to welcome back our children. So we're going to discuss today the baseline assessments, their importance and the role they play within the assessment recording and reporting schedule. And we're also going to just discuss very briefly some of the changes that we've made to our COVID plans and the working aspects of the school and the return to school plan since we've been back a week. So the FPS family is back together, and it's all thanks to the incredible teamwork of you all. Last week we had external validation from three major external controls: the Dubai municipality, the KHDA and the RTA. They've all been comprehensively assured by our plans and our current processes. We're expecting a visit from the DHA and potentially another visit from the KHDA, so please continue to work in line with the school's new policies and approaches. They are for everyone's safety. With regards to any changes, there have been a couple of changes to routines in the mornings. These have been to the entrances and exits, to the processes through thermal cameras, meaning students are starting very promptly. There's almost no lateness, and it's been reduced significantly, and virtually all students are in school and ready to learn for 7:45 a.m. It's due to the huge efforts from yourselves, opening up their classes from 7:15 a.m, and also to those other team workers who have adjusted their duties, and those who have given up being their swimming coach or the swimming support staff or working in other areas of the school like the libraries to man those cameras and support our students. We value your commitment, and it's making a big difference every day. With regards to hallways, timings and duties, at the end of the day, it's a reminder that there's added flexibility with regards to CPD and meetings. For example, meetings can be virtual and at an agreed time and a day that suits the arrangements of those leaders and staff. You may be watching and listening to this today, the traditional day for CPD on a Sunday. However, you can delay and you can listen to it another time that suits you in line with your workload. And another example, for a department or year group, if you wish to meet in person immediately after school, then that's fine and it's entirely up to you. If you had childcare arrangements in place and wish to leave school site and have the meeting at a later date or a later time, as long as it's completed that week, then it's absolutely fine. With regards to timings, it was slightly disappointing to see some secondary students leaving school 15 minutes before the end of their allotted time on Thursday. This wasn't common practice, and it was only a few isolated instances. This is unacceptable for a number of reasons, but in the current climate, it's a direct health and safety breach. We are certain this is a mistake, and we're expecting and will be ensuring that all lessons start and end promptly at their allotted times. This is essential for the workings of the return to school plan, please. There have been a few other changes to the hallways and walkways, such as, for example, in C block. The top floor of C block, the third floor, has changed direction, and we're trialling the impact this has on students' movement and the way that they can access the classrooms. Please can all teachers be present in the hallways during changeovers to enforce social distancing, the correct way of walking, and just to support our students. It'll help ensure their safety, but also allow us to see if further changes are needed in the future. With regards to duties, thank you so much for your commitment and hard work with regards to the very rigorous timetable. We are expecting to be able to reduce some of those duties as we move through the school and as the students settle. So we have built in capacity within certain common areas to group more students there, which will then allow us to reduce the amount of teachers who are on duty. For now, can you keep the current expectations, work in line with the adjustments, and just consider the long-term plan? Now that school is open and we know that the children can be kept safe, conversations can move more towards the day-to-day expectations regarding teaching standards, assessment, pastoral and well-being. The overarching aim for all of us is to get back to focusing on what we do best, teaching. We know all of these changes will take a period of adjustment, and we know it's not been easy to return to school, but we are not rigid in our mindset. We will always evolve plans and approaches if it is in the best interest of our children. So please do reflect this week on how lessons are currently taught and how learning is facilitated in your classroom. Think about what's going well and what we need to do to continue to evolve and adapt from normal traditional face-to-face teaching. What's working and what other opportunities are there for us to develop our practice, potentially approach teaching in a different way, further strengthening the progress students can make? And what other challenges are we facing? Things that might need to change or improve that can allow us to make sure the teaching is sustainable, highly efficient, highly effective, and going to work for the rest of the year. We are baseline assessing across school this week, and with it we enter the first stage of the assessment, reporting and recording cycle. This phase will focus on baselines, the reporting of targets and progress tests. Ms. Ollie shared the details regarding the activities included in the ARR and the important role it plays in school development and improvement. I will reshare the link on Teams to those materials today. These changes to assessment, recording, reporting and the improvements, and actually the ARR itself, the whole cycle, is directly linked to the whole school strategic improvement plan and our key aims and objectives for the year. We are striving to improve the consistency, quality and outcomes regarding internal and external school assessments this year. But we're also looking to further enhance the consistent and highly effective use of pupil data to enhance teaching, to enhance learning, to enhance provision across all subjects by all teachers and all leaders. As most of you know, I do not traditionally use or support baselining students at the start of the year. At FPS, our assessment procedures will be so robust and reliable that we will not need to retest our students, but we'll be able to fully rely on our colleagues' judgments. However, our students have spent so much time away from school that we do need to identify any gaps that have formed during the pandemic and their starting points for this year. Therefore, the key outcomes from this test are a gap analysis. We must identify the gaps and then tailor and adapt provision to address them, personalising provision for children, classes and cohorts so that we are actively targeting our main key areas of development. Target setting. All pupils will still receive their FPS aspirational target and a minimum requirement for DSIB and KHDA. Once we have assessed students, all teachers will have informed conversations regarding their students and what their targets will be for this year. These will then be input into SIMS, analysed and extracted through DC Pro, so that attainment and progress can be tracked against them. And then finally, informed discussions around pupil data and starting points in readiness for Term 1 pupil progress and subject standards meetings. All of this data will then provide added context for future assessment points and pupil progress and subject standards meetings, where we will be discussing every child's attainment and progress in line with their starting points, in line with this baseline context, their expected progress and flight paths, and their end of year targets. So the final thing to do is to thank you, to refer you back to the videos from CPD and Induction Week for further guidance and to make you aware of the key activities within the school's assessment, recording and reporting cycle, and then to say the rest of this CPD session is allocated for your class and department time preparations. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, all of your hard work. We will continue to move the school forward and be a successful school and a successful family for all.